That's it. I'm not screwing around anymore. I cast Drawing You Pregnant.
I think that might actually be the most effective threat the internet has ever come up with. IMO. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, that'll work. I hope everyone's doing all right. I'm about the same as same as it ever was. Also, you know what? Let me turn down music just a bit. How does that look? That looks okay on stream. That looks all right. There. Right around there. Adjusting audio levels. Hi, me. I hope you're okay. I hope you're, getting by in this heck of a world. I, myself, am just gonna focus on drawing silly cartoons. This is neither my beautiful house nor my beautiful wife. Damn it. Damn it. Where did these guys come from? As silly as it might seem, in some of the worst times in human history, just drawing silly cartoons was a major activity for different people. So, why don't we keep up that tradition? Do you think in olden days, bring out a parrot, you got it. What parrot should we bring out? That's Parrot Bomb. There we go. Do you think in olden days, like the cave paintings of horses and whatnot counted as silly cartoons? Do you think do you think the people back then were like, ha, I get it, and then these days we're just like, oh no. Neat horse. Absolutely, yes. I'm not about to do a dumb caveman voice because that's an overplayed bit if ever there was one. We get it. The caveman probably talked in antiquated English. Maybe stop making fun of them and start having some empathy. I'm sure you wouldn't talk very good either if you never took an English class in your life or English hadn't existed yet. Also, that's the other part. English was not a language when Neanderthal roamed the earth. There were other languages. Penises. The medium has changed, but the joke hasn't. Honestly, my kind of humor that I'd like to see dating back to olden times was silly little guys. I think silly little drawing a dick can always be funny, but where are the silly little guys at? And to be fair, I have seen pictures here and there of some silly little guys in ancient relief. So I just want more silly little guy. Do have some silly little guys. Yeah. I just think that's so interesting, And it's one reason that I'll always stand by liking Mickey Mouse as a character. Even if I'm just like, I don't really care for the Disney Corporation anymore. But the reason Mickey was popular when he came out was because it was the Great Depression. And Mickey being the kind of broke ass down on his luck little guy. It was a big sell with all the people. And to a degree, that's what his character's always been. And I also think what makes it so ironic that Disney chooses him as their mascot, even though they are like the opposite of downtrodden little dudes. Hey, wait a minute. Disney, you're not broke and small. You're one of the 5 largest media conglomerates in the world. Hold on, Justin. No, who are you? Oh my goodness, it's chilly in my house. You know, I really hope when I get stuff out for sale, not sailing as in boats, ironically, but sail as in commerce, that's able to pick up to the point where I'm just like, I don't have to go out to job anymore. I mean, I was literally saying this yesterday, but the heat doesn't help. Let me tell you this. I was wondering, I was like, just today, I was like, is there something I can sell besides entertainment? And I feel like the obvious go-to would be clothing. But I need to find a good supplier for that, and then obviously I would need to make it affordable and good looking. You know, ideally, if I ever make merch for the Wallop Brothers, I would actually like it to be very, like, low-key. Like, you know, takes the rubber hose aesthetic without necessarily being like, I am a fan of this. Oh my lord, get out of here. Boo, bot, you're not a silly little guy at all. You're gross. Get out of here. But yeah, because I've seen like some people have art and different streetwear fashion that is already based off of you know, the rubber hose aesthetic. So ideally I would like that, except if you know about the Wallop Brothers, then it becomes, then it's just like, oh, I see. You like that thing? I like that thing. That prosy D bit will never not be relevant. I don't like this thing. You don't, but I like this thing. I like this thing. People like this thing. Me talking about Pirates of Ruby. You know, so I think I talked about it on like literally last stream, but they're putting pirates in Fortnite, which is not something I expected. And I'm probably gonna end up doing a stream of playing in Fortnite as pirates and talking about it. I don't remember if I said this yesterday, but it's really interesting because I've looked, and I'll probably repeat this point when we do the stream, but it's really interesting because, you know, trying to get different perspectives on my favorite films of all time, I've been like, you know, why have people not liked these films in the past? And I've seen a lot of people be like, they're bloated, they're too much. I remember I specifically saw someone being like, the first one was a funny action film, but the rest are, oh. And I feel like I would rebut that by saying, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. I don't think it's constructive to be like, the first one was specifically just, you know, lighthearted action, and thus that's all these can ever be. I typically see the pirate films evolving in different ways as they went on, which is one reason I ended up liking them so much. So, especially when you take especially through the lens of Elizabeth. I've talked about that before. Luffy might keep trying to be the king of the pirates, but Elizabeth has been the king of the pirates and will continue to be. So sorry about that, Luffy. And they go to fight, and Elizabeth pulls out the fucking 30 weapons she had on her at the start of World's End, including multiple explosives. Good scene. But yeah, you know, thinking of things constructively, I think I just tend to be like wanting these to be simpler just because the first one is they could be so much more, which is ironic, because I feel like a criticism I don't like seeing is when someone's just like, these need to be more, there is so much potential. And I'm sad it's not here, and I'm like, but what about the thing that's there? They're like, potential. And then Pirates is the opposite, where they're just like, there's too much, there wasn't potential. Also, drawing a pirate ship while organs play is very, very Davy Jones. We do love Davy Jones around here. I'm trying to do my best to match up. Trying to do my best to keep the anchor consistent across a lot of depictions. And especially in this one, I'm doing my best to keep it consistent in how it looks as it sails on this specific voyage. That's actually something that got me really excited. I've delivered some silly guys. This is such good news. I'm gonna take a peek. I probably won't say anything, but I'll take a little peek. Oh my goodness, those are silly guys. Oh, that one's a little fox. He just goes wee. Anyway, that's something that got me excited reading One Piece early on, is it had far more like sailing lingo and actual pirate know-how than I would have guessed after seeing bits of the later sections out of context. And you know, it definitely had a little less actual sailing shit as time went on, and more fantasy stuff, which, to be fair, is in line with how the early series depicts the Grand Line, so it's fair. But all that said, I would love it if it could have kept with that. So I feel like that's kind of one of my goals with Wallop Brothers. I'd love it if we could. I'd love it if we could kind of get a bit of shonen action going, but also, I was thinking of, but also keep very sailing and piratey things. I actually saw, I think it's from Stampede. No, it's not Stampede, it's a different one. I think it's One Piece Movie Z or something like that. But like, Zoro's doing a whole anime battle with a lady with two like flintlock pistols. So I'm like, heck yeah. Now that's piratey. So, that's definitely what I'd probably be going for, is super anime battles, but you have like flintlock pistols and everything.
But Cahill, flintlock pistols aren't intimidating. They miss most of the time, and they take forever to load.
I don't care. It's my aesthetic. I get to choose what they do. We're going for fashion over function here, people. I will not apologize. I'm just looking at the rigging as I depicted it in the original one. And then, yeah. Boop. Boop. We're gonna have a frigate back here, but I won't have to depict that in such a detail, because it's gonna be in the distance. Shocking as it may be, when something is far away, you don't have to draw it. That's detailed. I know. This is maybe the most impressive artistic discovery of our generation. And I'm a genius for realizing this. But please, I'm just a man. I put my gold-plated pants on one leg at a time, just like you. Yeah. Yeah, to give a bit slight spoilers for the, I mean, I'm just going to tell you what the next comic's going to be like. But the idea is going to be that this is the ambassador, the little villain we had going just a few strips ago, on his ship, and they are sailing in a slightly wrong direction. Because guess what? They don't have a map anymore. So it's almost as if someone stole their map. It's almost as if two little rascals came along angry about their treatment under capitalism and stole because of it. I don't know where you'd be able to witness such events, but like, if you could only imagine, then we can continue working. Yeah, well, that star to sailor by isn't gonna help when you're trying to go to an island that can't be found except by those who've already been there. That's Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm doing drawing streams can be hard because I can't have chat up at the same time, but wait. Let's see. Oh. I can't read that right now. I want to look up the quote. An island can't be found except by those who already know where it is. Yeah, nothing piratey came up because of that. In a direction, though. In a direction. It won't be the right one. You know, but I didn't say I was going in that direction. I just said I was sailing my ship. Man, we would just be watching Curse of the Black Pearl right now. If Twitch let me do that, but they won't. Alexa, quickly. Barbossa, Pirates of the Caribbean scene compilation. Alexa. Alexa, Pirates of the Caribbean movie trilogy marathon. Alexa. You should absolutely watch Gore Verbinski's Pirates of the Caribbean movie trilogy. I think it's one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. Also, hello, Paula. I'll sail my ship however I want. Thank you. However I want. Wherever I want. Okay, but these aren't just Disney films. They're the best films made ever. So, you know. I would genuinely pop Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy up next against the original Star Wars trilogy. And I'm not afraid to say it. You might think I'd be afraid to say it. You know, what with the nerds online and everything. But I refuse. I refuse to I haven't seen original Star Wars. I'd give them a shot. You know, if you like some old school sci-fi. I'm not gonna say get into Star Wars in general. That ship sailed. that specific ship sailed as the internet decided to be a place where everyone got mad about everything all the time. So also, I just realized something. Okay. So they're sailing east in this direction, which means the sun's coming down like this way. So the wave's shadow would be that way. With great confidence. Listen, people online like to be mad about stuff. Trust me, I've seen it. Lord, I was like literally just as I was coming home from work, I was online, and someone replied to a comment I made about anime like a year ago. Real mad. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, y'all, please. Actually, no need. It's funny. I gotta admit, it's a little funny. Just cause, like, I genuinely do not care. Not to be rude. But, I have fully just, you know, I am fully just like, oh, I've moved past that. You know what? That should be good. And then, for this next panel, what we should do is have the stern of the ship with the till. Man, this is hard. Okay, I gotta draw the till first. That's the hard part. Or maybe I should draw Walt first, because Walt's gonna be in the foreground right here. He's gonna be holding the till. The tiller. Which is the thing on the boat when it's just like a stick you use to steer instead of a wheel. A wheel's a helm. Captain at the helm. Race up yards, ye cack-handed deck apes. Dying is the day worth living for. That's another Pirates quote. Luff the sails and lay your irons. Belay that, belay that, belay that. Lord, like, one of the last scenes in At World's End, the third Pirates movie, is so good in small part because Jack, a man obsessed with having his own ship and the title of captain, who has largely not asserted himself because he's a pretty chill guy and really just wants to be sailing around the world and doesn't care to be, you know, a murderous dickhead. Like in that last scene, he specifically really takes charge and is just telling all these people exactly what to do in this one situation, and it becomes immensely satisfying. I forgot something that I'm gonna need to look up when when I make this comic. Actually, we'll look it up right now. Why not? Fucking ship signal flags. Yep. International maritime are various flags used to communicate with ships. Principal system flags and as usage letter flags. This is what I'm looking for. Men over. Number flags. Signal flags. Spelling. Can you use them like that? Messages are spelled out by strings of the appropriate flags together. Okay. You suck. Hey, that works. Okay. I want to make sure I understood the principle of this. I was just like, I don't hear, shocking as it might be, I have not sailed on a square rigged ship, so don't forget to eat fruit. Absolutely sleep and eat fruit, Paula. It's important. For the bit. I mean, okay. Do you want to know what the joke of the comic is going to be? Okay. So let me spell out the plot of the current arc of the Wallop Bros comic. Are you ready? I'm the only person who cares about this. Ah. Okay. So, at this point in time, Walt and Willie, these two goobers I'm sketching over here, have been pirates for roughly 2 years, which means they started being pirates at the ages of 9 and 10, respectively. Again, me criticizing capitalism. Anyway, they have at this point largely made their fortune off of scavenging for goods and the occasional raid on a ship they're able to steal from, you know, when they can manage it. Just recently they pulled into a port trying to sell goods and make enough money to eat for the day, when the powers that be in these waters, the United Trade Islands, specifically, let's see, what character did I have? What did I name this character again? I just have him as the ambassador. Specifically a singular ambassador of the United Trade Islands, kind of rocks up and ruins their day of selling. After a small kerfuffle, they come across him again when he's in a secret meeting, briefing a chartered crew on a mission they're going on that centers around a map with a location only depicted on there. Walt and Willie steal that map and currently have it and are sailing towards that island in the hopes of getting some treasure they can sell so they can eat. In this comic, that's the ambassador's ship. Because he sort of remembers where the island is on the map. He studied it. So even without the map, he's vaguely searching for that treasure out in roughly the same waters as Walt and Willie, who, I mean, at this point he barely even realizes is the people who stole the map and is in this ship over here heading in the right direction. So Walt and Willie see the ship. They're like, hey, that ship over there is headed in the other direction. We should signal to them, as Willie holds up some signal flags. Back on the ship, the ambassador, working on his mapping, gets approached by one of his assistants and annoyedly asks why is he interrupting the navigation, only for the assistant to respond that this sloop has signaled them. Specifically, they've decided to signal to this ship, "You suck." And that's the whole joke. I would tell you more about where the thing's going, but I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, you could always go look at the older comics and see if you can pick up on something you haven't before. Wink. Winks. Popular fairy cartoon. Winks. Man, it can be hard to fit so many things in this panel, in these panels. I shan't lie to you. I work in a medium with small images. In the webtoon, yeah, I think webtoon's all up to date at this point. You can also go on Blue Sky or check out the website. I think all of those have commands at this point. Yeah, the webtoon's fully updated. I find it interesting because each webtoon comic has one like, except for the first the first three. Which is not me being like, people need to go like them now. No. If you don't like a comic I make, then you're completely in your power to let me know. That's how this works. Good to know. You got it. Well, that's what... You'd be like the specific person I kind of made the website for. You can... Because, like, I follow a different comic artist who has their own website for their comics. And I saved that because I was just like, yeah, this is probably the best way to, especially with Twitter. I found them on Twitter, and I was like, with Twitter going down, this is probably the best way for me to follow this comic. So, you know, I'm not trying to, I mean, I am plugging my own stuff, but not to go too hard on the sell. Like, you know, If you're like, I don't want to download other social media app, you can always just keep the site bookmarked and check it whenever you want. You're like, I want to read the comics, or I know it has been updated, so I will go read the comics. Or I need to tell Cahill why his comics are so bad, so I have to go reread the comics.
Cahill, show me where your comics are. I'm making a video essay on why they are bad.
Oh, you know what? I mean, thanks for the publicity, I guess. Oh. Does that go to the right place? It does. That's good. Question. And again, this is not me saying people need to go rate the comic on I could hype. Don't. Let me. Before you even think about that, let me assure you, I'm not the kind of person who thinks any publicity is good publicity. So I'll mostly just be upset. I'll mostly just be sad. I honestly don't think I can or should draw a background to for this. So many of these are gonna get taken up by speech bubbles. Not against you anyway. Also, what I wanted to say is, does 0 stars on Webtoon mean that no one's rated it, or that at least one person has rated it and it's given me 0 stars? I have not seen or looked into that, so. Again, do not just go rate the comic because you like me. At the end of the day, I'd like people to like the comic because they like the comic. I would prefer to never be seen again. Let me do that thing where Oda, that Oda did, where he was at the Netflix premiere for One Piece, and no one knew he was there because no one knows what Oda looks like. That was like the coolest thing, too. So, I'd love that. I don't see a way to rate them. I see. Well, then I'm guessing it's... I'm guessing it's just that no one's rated them then. Works for me. I like a tall woman with a big ass, like Grammy Award winner Megan Thee Stallion. Just saying. Thank you, Yuji Itadori. This has been very insightful. You can't believe Yuji Itadori of JJK fame featured on a Megan Thee Stallion track. Although this is kind of my favorite way to do comics at this point. I mean, I just really like the comic strip format in general. That's probably it, me. And again, feel no pressure to do that. But getting to mostly copy and paste one panel in particular, and then the other half is totally original. So, it saves a bit of work. It can be used for comedic timing, etc., etc. Oh, I really need to explain comics to all y'all. I'm tired. I need to sleep. Yeah, so no. Again, no pressure. I was just genuinely curious how, because, different systems are different, obviously, but oh, and I was like, this could either be no ratings or one very bad rating. And I was like, But again, it's more, at the end of the day, I like people to be honest with what they think about my work, and not just be like, Cahill, I like you, so I like your art. I'm like, no. Remove me as a person from the equation, as I am constantly trying to do. Like, it's very nice, but also, I don't know. Sometimes you want your work to fly on its own two wings. You want your babies to soar. I'm surprised you like how much I draw environments. I'm not gonna say I put no effort into it, but I wouldn't say it's my forte, and I almost certainly put more effort into drawing the brothers and what have you. Oh yeah, well that's something I want more pirate, like that's something I did pay attention to just because it's something I want more pirate things to pay attention to, which is to say like the Spanish architecture of the you know, colonial Caribbean. And like that, you know, that's me showing my Pirates of the Caribbean love again, because so much of the townscapes in that franchise are that architecture. But regardless, like so many people are just like, you know, the ocean, the big part. And I'm like, no, the ports. The ports are important. Are important. I'm sorry, I'll leave now. So for cities at least, I made sure to pay attention to that part. Also, don't sweat at me.
You don't need a hall pass from me. I'm not your uptight ass English teacher.
Oh my lord, I remember seeing a TikTok and someone was just like, why didn't we have a class about media literacy? And someone was like, that was English. You're talking about English. Where they taught you to read books. I remember seeing another one, like, I think literally today. It was just like, you know, so many people making fun of curtains being blue. And that's what's the problem with media literacy. And I'm like, no! Because I feel like some people do really overanalyze stuff. But I can see the point of using that as justification to discard all interpretations is damaging. But the curtains are blue meme I think absolutely holds water in terms of sometimes authors just mean the literal imagery they're trying to paint, and then other people go reading into it. But you know, art is for interpretation, so I think author intent is important, but it's not the only way to do it. Life offers you so many options and so many things. What was I thinking of? I remember looking up not too long ago about like how fast a Bermuda sloop can go. I think it was like 12 to 14 knots, something like that. It was its average top speed, so that's definitely where the anvil's clocking in. Because I definitely didn't want to go for that, you know, used in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I feel like a couple other pieces of media where it's like, this is the fastest ship, it's the best ship. It's like, no, this is a very good ship, but I wouldn't say it's majorly excelling at one specific thing. It's just all around solid. The anvil's doing its best in a lot to carry through in a lot of areas. It's not just gonna pour all its focus into one. You know, One Piece introduced that whole concept of like a ship having a spirit if it's cared for enough. And I'm like, and it does, and like given the way I'm writing this story, it does make me think it's like, should I introduce something like that? But I feel like, from what I've heard, and also just practical, and also just real world science knowledge, maybe I don't really need to represent that with a fictional magical creature, and it can just be that the ship itself as an object has personality, as humans are so wont to do with you know, items at times, items and animals and whatnot. Humanize them, personify them. Oh, this looks actually pretty good.
Pat on my back. Pat, pat, pat. Oh my goodness.
Man, work's been killer recently, I'm not gonna lie. It's been moitering me. I'd really like to cool down. I talk about it so much, but you know, reiterating, it's just like, I feel stigma around jobs in general has me just like, should just make my own living. Do my own thing. I recognize I should probably get money to live, but also I'm starting to think jobs aren't for me.
Doopa-doopa-doo-da-doo-da-doo-da.
Up. Feels like I used to be afraid. Like, you know, as a kid, in cartoons, you'd see like the stereotype of the hippie, and I feel like a while ago I'd be like, I'm not one of those, and at this point I've stopped caring. Like, I might be a hippie. If I was born in the 70s, I might have become a hippie. But you know, if I was born in the 70s, it could have made, like, I could have like premiered comic strips like Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes. So it is what it is. I wonder if there's any like comic strip artist, like specifically that have worked in traditional newspaper and have seen the likes of One Piece and been like, dang, this is good. Because in a lot of ways, it is very purposefully emulating rubber hose-esque aesthetics. But I wonder if that's helped draw any people who might not traditionally be into a shonen anime to read it. I guess you could take a poll, just like, was One Piece, what's your profession, and what was the first anime you watched? I imagine you'd like, so you'd need like their profession, hobbies and interests, and then first anime they watched. And then maybe you could use that to help form an opinion on whether or not One Piece's aesthetic helped to draw in people who were more into Western cartoons than anime. I wonder if that study's been done. I don't know how much study is done around people who consume major pieces of art, of which I would definitely call One Piece one of them. At the end of the day, I definitely think kind of life you live and stuff can end up affecting what art you choose to engage with, and maybe even connect to more personally, obviously. But I'd be lying if I said I knew all the clues. Heck, if I knew all the, well, I was gonna say if I knew how to how to play people like a darn fiddle, and I would have done that already to make big good art. But that would still also require you to have it get traction online, among other things, which isn't necessarily always going to be the case whether or not you make good art. And I'm not even claiming I do that as is, so yeah, that's good. Gotta add all that cross-hatching for wooden ship. That's the other thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to have the also, wait a minute. Okay, making sure. But I want to make sure I didn't have like the anvil be a special color or what have you. I didn't necessarily want it to stand out too much as a ship. I wanted the thing that makes it a thing to be that it's, you know, Walt and Willie ship. So with that in mind, it's just a nice warm brown color with some gold trim. Gold, like bronze trim. It's not actually gold, but they kind of splurged and polished to make it look like it was. They're like, this is gonna be the nicest part of the ship, just check this out. I love how I've just created this fiction about them about them really splurging to make this trim here nice around the frame of the ship. But then the figurehead, which I would argue is typically the piece most people want to splurge on and make look nice, they have decided to just kind of tape an anvil onto their bow. Great work, boys. No notes. I think that's completely in character. I think that's completely canon worthy. They found this thing, and Walt and Willie were so focused on nice decorations all around and making sure it was sturdy and seaworthy that then it came time to get the fucking the figurehead. They're like, ugh. They just stole stuff from a blacksmith. And I said, yep, this works. That being said, didn't I mention before that it's hollow? It is a faux anvil. Mayhaps plated in metal, but definitely not fully metal. Just because I know some people would be like, you know, it's like, if it was fully metal, it would affect how the ship balances and floats. And that could cause some real problems. And I was like, fine. It's not a real anvil. You absolute dorks. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have quirky fun. But then science had to come along. Y'all want to know some actual science? Some real science in the... You losers, you fools, the anvil isn't even real. You fell for one of the classic blunders. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but this is something I've thought of for a long time in any series I've made. But I would say it's almost absolutely true for the Wallop Brothers series, which is that like electricity and other such conventional energy sources in this world are so unwily, are so unruly to such a degree that it is very unlikely that the world will ever move past the age of sail. The chances of them being able to efficiently harness the types of elements that we have to create an advanced civilization is incredibly low. And as such, it's just going to be pirates all the time. And you might say, Cahill, did you just damn a world of cartoon citizens to a specific era of human history because you like the aesthetic so much? And I would say yes. I have. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I mean, I could just say it's not going to move past the age of sail because it's a cartoon. And time doesn't pass the same way. But maybe it's both those things. You'll have no idea what I'm going to do. I keep them guessing. We love to keep them guessing. Never let them know your next move. I want to make sure the arms look right. I think this is still called the boom. Fucking... What is a trapezoid sail? Parts of a sloop. I know what a boom is. Let's see. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. That's kind of the right one. Wait, is it a lateen? Is it a lateen sail? No, a lateen is a fully triangle sail to the side. Trapezoid sail. Oh, trapezoid SA. No, sail. Types of sail. Why do I always do this? Gaff. It's a gaff. Gaff sail. So that top part would be the gaff, I believe. Yeah, it says gaff. Gaff. Gaff on a ship. Wooden spar or pole that extends diagonally from the mast. I don't know if that thing is called the boom still, though. Let's see. Nope, it's still called the boom. Top part's the gaff, bottom part's boom. I know this isn't the real reason it's called the boom, but I do like saying it. The reason this bottom wooden sail part is called the boom is because it hits you, and then it goes boom. Actually, on modern sailboats, I know for a fact that they pad these. They have paddings for the booms, so that way if it does hit someone as it swings around on the mast, then it won't just kill them. That's also a thing in Pirates. Jack uses the boom on a ship to trick someone. He whips the ship around, the boom goes careening into them, and they get suspended over the ocean. Which, you know, not the best thing, not the best place to be. Sailing through the sea. Has anyone... So there have been people who have swam between Hawaiian islands. There ever been people who swam between Caribbean islands? Like, what's the average distance between the islands in the Caribbean and Bahamas? And how traversable is it by one person? I mean, I imagine not incredibly. You know, it's not a wildly popular thing to do, to singularly go between islands in the Caribbean Sea, but I could say that from Hawaii. I just know it's been done. But yeah, I fucking love that it's called... for whatever reason I may have forgotten, I fucking love that this is called the boom. And it hits you and it goes boom. Sailing ships are fun. I wish Juice was here. Just because not too long ago they're like, Cahill, I think you might have got me into boats. I'm like, yay! Do I know a lot about sailing? No. Not even a little bit. You just saw me Google for like 3 minutes. Part of what part of a boat is called. And furthermore, there are specific ways you're supposed to call out actions on a boat. And I don't know how to do that either. In fact, I don't even know how to angle sails in the wind correctly. But I like drawing them, and I do my best to make it look good and somewhat accurate. I don't know what what are the little wooden knobs on ship called? Sailing wood pulley. Is it a pulley? Yep, it's a pulley. I mean, I know that's just basic machine knowledge. They do kitchen calls. In, behind. Got an order on table 27. I used to work in the kitchen. I know some of those. Yeah. Well, so that is a thing in sailing meat. So, for example, I know this because of pirates, but obviously you wouldn't use it in regular sailing much. But for example, when you want to like prepare for battle, like when you want to run out, when you want to get people on the cannons and get the cannons prepped to fire, you would say ready on the guns, and then people would get the cannons all together, get them ready to fire, and when the action is, you know, prepared for and ready to go, they would say guns ready. They basically say it in reverse. So, you know, if you tell them to start making the sails a certain way, you'd say, like, you know, this is a bad example because this isn't how you'd say it, but you'd be like ready on the sails, and they'd be like sails ready, as to signal that they are getting done what you need to do in order to properly navigate your ship. I feel like that's typically why I like sailing vessels the most. I feel like out of every mode of transport, both on the sea and off. Sailing ships are like these cool little devices we've made as a society that takes collaboration in one place so that all of you go forward, go to a destination. Like from your perspective, you're kind of stationary on the boat, and you're doing a job on the boat, but in successfully doing that job and working together with your crew, you make the boat go forward and travel to the appropriate place. And I like that. Oh my goodness, Crystal! Ready on the guns! No. Thank you for the raid. How are you doing? Shout out. Sonic Shuffle, heck yeah. We do love a Sonic Mario Party. Man, I still need to get the Sonic games for GameCube. That's like my that's in terms of like I got a few good GameCube specific games on like after I got my free GameCube, but legitimately Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and Heroes are games that even if they might not be the best are on my want list. But yeah, welcoming guys. I'm Cahill. I do art and I play everything from Dark Souls to Kirby. Today I'm just working on my comic. It's an interesting parrot. It is. Hey, you can. I'll say one thing. It definitely is a parrot. Comfortably close for the last. Oof. Is Sonic Shuffle hard? Is it more or less BS than you know, Mario Party? Two genders, dark. Well, you fool that you are me. You didn't recognize that I included a spectrum in there, so there are more than two genders. You rude. Very hard and very shit, man. I've said this. I think I said this for. Was it like Super Mario Party or something like that? One of the newer Switch ones where I was like, I should get this and I should gift it to my friends so we can play. But that Mario Party Jamboree they have coming out, I am legit like, they're like all Mario Party, new things, new mini games, classic game modes, new game modes. I'm like, I need that. I'd like that. I'd like my friends to have it. I'd like to play Mario Party with friends. I'd like to be the superstar, please. Way to go, superstar. Gregory, have you heard of Among Us, Gregory? I know it's going to be hard, but I need you to vent. Bon oui. Also, I hope you guys like pirates, because I like pirates. That's the other thing. Whenever someone posts, it's just like, oh, you're autistic, your hyperfixation must be trains or something. I'm like, fool that you are, it's pirates. Pirates is my fixation. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Story. You know, I'm usually all for a single player story mode experience, but in like a Mario Party type of game, yeah, that sounds rough. Pirates, never heard of them. Rats, 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 rats. Rats, 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 rats. You know what? So far when I've drawn the anvil here, I've drawn the Jolly Roger on it. But we should add a little detail where since it is in view of, you know, another ship and one they would recognize as an official ship, they shouldn't be flying the Roger, because that would just get them in trouble. Me getting the bonus for damn. I mean, it's cool when you're doing it in multiplayer and don't have to worry about progressing the game, but having to rely on bonus stars for a story mode is oof. Also, I love how I'm talking about just like, yeah, they wouldn't fly the Jolly Roger because then people would know they were pirates. When this is a Bermuda sloop with incredibly distinct sails. And if you get notorious enough, people will know what your ship looks like. So, I will say maybe they're not that notorious yet, but still. It's just like they have a giant, they have two giant W's on the top sail. Might as well just paint the Roger right there, but hoist the colors. Ready on the line. Line ready. I should get, you know, when I'm working on this, maybe I should put on like sailing ambiance in the background. Some like a 10-hour Assassin's Creed 4 ambiance. Heck yeah, I'm proud of you, Crystal. You get to have your own emotes and stuff. It's a good thing to celebrate. I forget when I was made an affiliate, so, but. I did know that, Greg. No, shampoo is edible, but it definitely doesn't make things crispy. I just tend to, you know. I just tend to eat shampoo separately. More often than not. Like, yeah. See, it's not, there are public domain shanties and everything, but whether or not I want to listen to them on stream, or whether or not it's worth a possible, like, copyright strike or something on like, YouTube and Twitch, it's probably not. Especially when I already have a sing shanty, not command, but redeem. It's just like, if you want shanties on this stream so bad, watch and say. It's almost like I'm enticing people to watch streams if they want a certain kind of content. Oh, how could I? That's diabolical. It seems useless, huh? So, that does seem useful. But at the end of the day, I do try to make the VOD something that, you know, VOD watchers on YouTube, even though I don't really have a lot of those, are going to enjoy too. And if I make this stream where I can listen to music on the stream, but it will not save to the VOD, then it's going to get a little less watchable for people on YouTube. They're gonna be like, this is dead silence for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna be like, oh no, I just wanted to listen to Kesha. I wanted to go TikTok on the clock. DJ, blow my speakers up. $$ Sha. The party don't stop a no. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. I'm talk like a clock. Was that gear fluid leaking from your eyes? That was wildly loud. Thank you for the 1 bit, Greg. I appreciate that. Heck, you know, especially when it's through Twitch, every bit helps for the next payout. So, thank you. Yippee! Rats, rats. You know, if anyone ever finds the Wii music, but it's just people saying rats, 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 rats. Rats, 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 rats. Make sure you put that in Discord. I was seeing that on TikTok, and I'm like, I love this. I mean, I love most versions of the Wii remixes with the Wii music, because I like the Wii. Wii. Rats, 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 rats. Rats, 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 rats. Rats are just chubby little guys trying to make their way in the world. Are we truly so different? On pirate ships, rats help you know if you're sinking or not. So, you know, maybe they're lifesavers. The only form of emergency systems on pirate ships. Lord knows they haven't installed fire alarms or carbon monoxide detectors. Something you absolutely need to do. I love how I just went to Discord to check some other stuff, but I love how I look at it, and Meat has just posted the 2 times I've drawn Walt in just total despair. Just wildly upset. Listen, sometimes pirating isn't pretty. Sometimes you gotta bury some bodies. People keep asking me if I'm back. And you know, I wasn't really sure until now, but yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. I've only seen the first John Wick, but I did really like it. Honestly, that opening is like film making 101, you know? It's hard to get, I mean, it's basically the opening to Up, but the opening to Up is great, so, you know. It's a good way to get your audience feeling for your main protagonist. Which just, in turn, is then enforced by some great action choreography. It helps when, you know, it helps endear people to your protagonist if their first thought of them is, man, I feel so bad for this guy. And then their second thought of them is, man, this is the coolest man I've ever met. What was I thinking of? I was gonna say there are no pneumatics in this comic world, but I did canonically establish before that there are some steamboats, and I don't know if those count as pneumatics or not. Because aren't pneumatics like compressed water and liquids? See, everyone's just like, I was talking about how much I don't know about boats, and here we are. Or air. Hydraulics? Oh, there you go. Yeah, in that case, pneumatics might just be the air. In which case, it probably not steamboats, but it still might be. Because steamboats use water and air. Only the Avatar, the master of all 4 elements, can stop them. But when the world needed him most, he took a sick day.
Vapor?
Can I get some Vicks Vapo Rub? Your boy stays not being able to breathe. Can I just have all of chat simultaneously rub some Vicks Vapo Rub on me? And hopefully at one point I can breathe. Do it. Water. That is true. Yeah, whenever you're like, you tend to hear so much about like this is such a weird thing that I specifically learned, I think, from the Chernobyl show. I don't know if I knew it before this. And I say it's weird I learned it from this because Chernobyl, the drama documentary, is mostly a horror show. But like they break down how nuclear reactors work, and it is mostly just steam, except instead of burning something in order to get steam to power turbines and create energy, they're just using radioactive materials. Which doesn't necessarily... And the steam comes out clean. It doesn't get, like, radiophied. Doesn't get irradiated. There is an actual word for that. I just didn't bother to use it. It's just the materials themselves which end up, you know, needing to be properly disposed of. We don't have a proper way to dispose of them. I fucking love people using like the concepts for like radioactive waste disposal as memes. The ones where it's just like no good deed is commemorated here. Damn, I didn't know that, Kingfisher, but I believe it. I'm willing to believe it at the very least because, like, you know, I have no interest in fossil fuel, so. Honestly, we could have been on solar power, like, forever. You know? Because if there's one thing the Earth is, it's in the path of the sun. And we just have these magic little rocks that help us harness its power. So, even if we're not going all the way for nuclear, we could have done that. You know, some people are just like, it's not practical, and I'm like, I don't care. Again, there's a, you know, again, we'll sacrifice anything for the sake of my aesthetic. I say that as though I don't constantly just wear sweatpants and shit in day-to-day life. I am constantly out of aesthetic just because I can't be bothered to get dressed. Yeah. I mean, not to get like real or anything. I can get it if people are like, hey, what do we do with the radioactive waste? But, you know, that one problem versus burning oil and shit, it definitely if not, you know, making things easier, it at least lowers numbers of problems. Bare minimum. We've gone to a couple to one. But yeah. Hey, listen, I'm just gonna hang out in the age of sail over here. Good old wind power, which always works as long as you have wind and as long as it's going in the correct direction. As wind power, the most infallible of all power sources, as long as wind is always blowing, it's going the direction you want it to. We got ore, yeah, manpower. The oldest of humanity's powers. It's that easy, people. I love how, cause that was another early One Piece thing that they touched on and I liked, cause like in sailing it's called the doldrums. You enter an area of the ocean where the wind isn't blowing and the ship isn't really going anywhere very fast. But in One Piece there is a specific part of the world dedicated to that called the calm belt. And when they get there and they find out it's like, oh, this isn't good, they break out their oars and they just start rowing. Yeah, calm belt. And oars is a One Piece character. It is a great point, Greg. Greg, you do raise a good point here. Thank you. I keep, as much as I'm talking about One Piece, I'm resisting saying anything about current art style, because I think I said everything actually already, and I'm trying not to repeat that too much. Like Anchor, I have some respect for it. Kingfisher, what about Sinking Anvil? Is that a good name? Or have I fucked it? I know we're talking about a person's name, but still. A character's name versus an object's name, but still. Well, that's the name of this ship, which isn't a devil fruit user, as far as I'm aware. If Walt and Willie's ship end up being a devil fruit user, then one, I don't know how. Two, don't quote me. And if the sword can be one, then the ship can be one. Well, Kingfisher. Well, you say that, but I would argue that a gun and sword's primary function isn't floating on water, which is specifically the one thing a devil fruit user can never do again after eating a devil fruit. Music and then make Twitch not listen for that track in VODs. That's interesting. Still not gonna do it. Because again, VOD watchers are gonna be like, hey. They won't, because again, no one watches my VODs. But in principle, I have my principles, and I'd like to stick to them. So. A ship can be one, extremely briefly. If it's a really tall ship, if it's a super tall ship that you can just hang out on the top, at the top of, and just as it slowly sinks over the course of the voyage, like just make sure you stay dry on, then a ship can be a devil fruit user. I do forget that from time to time, that they have established that objects on top of just living beings can eat devil fruits. But similarly, that it is very relevant to the current arc of One Piece, with how they revealed that in like Alabasta or whatever. And kind of what they were revealing now. No spoilers. I'm just saying. I don't think about it often, but it does come around. That's exactly what it is, Kingfisher. I just realized what you're saying, Kingfisher, and you're right. It didn't have to be objects eating devil fruits. It could have been the animal. It could have been pets eating devil fruits. And then, you know, they're just like, this is my pet. He did a thing. Now he's also my weapon on top of being my bestest friend. But no. Very interesting. I don't like how the way this sea is turning out. Let's undo some stuff and erase some things. Chopper is a doctor, which begs an even greater question. Were they arrested? I mean, maybe the human fruit, maybe whatever made the human fruit wanted exactly what happened with Chopper. Which is, I'd love an animal best friend who could also be a person. Because if they wanted furries, the minks are right there. The minks and the fishmen are right there. There are animal races already in One Piece. Hito hito no matu ni. Hito hito no matu no mi. Give me Scalies, Oda, you're coward. I don't think we're getting that, because I think it's been pretty established at this point that traditional dragons don't exist in One Piece. They seem to be mostly fictional. Because you had a dragon in a Punk Hazard, but it was specifically the creation of like genetic engineering and shit. And then you have like Kaido's devil fruit, but that's specifically referred to as a mythical devil fruit. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about in Punk Hazard, Kingfisher. Like it was specifically a creation from like a bunch of mad scientists working together. It wasn't a naturally occurring dragon. I don't think we're going to be seeing one again is the thing. Can someone get me to take back everything they said about me being good at backgrounds? Fucking suck at backgrounds. You have in Kingfisher. But that's probably because I think it's good. Also, if you mean celestial dragons, Greg, those also wildly don't count. For so many reasons. I do not. Well, in that case, I don't know what you're talking about. But I still don't think they count. Especially if it's filler, because I haven't watched One Piece filler. I'm sorry. I just read the manga. I didn't get the filler. And then, like, you know, I had people be like, oh, One Piece filler is actually really good. And I was like, maybe I should watch it, but I haven't bothered. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point, Kingfisher. If any, you know, dragons as we traditionally see them existed in One Piece, they'd be pretty upset with the world government. So, either they're being saved for the final saga that we're currently on, or they don't exist naturally. Which I do have to make that distinction, because as we just covered, with like devil fruit powers and shit, a lot of things can occur artificially. My lord. I am almost certain you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about filler, Greg. which is fine. But actually, wait a minute, because isn't the canonical, there's a canonical one-shot prequel to One Piece, and I think there's a dragon in that actually that they like kill. So also, I did just look it up. I see what you're talking about, and I did not watch that enough for it. I apologize. I failed. I'm a failure. I'm a failure both in watching One Piece and drawing backgrounds. Oh my goodness. I feel like we got into a heated anime discussion. Well, not heated. I hope no one's like fiending at the mouth. That's the hairiest bald thing I've ever seen. Also, what Greg was talking about does bring up an interesting point. Because, like, Oda has got, like, with the films and everything, Oda's gotten involved with filler in One Piece. So I wonder how much he's, like, signed off on as far as, like, Toei original shit goes. Did they ever, like, come to him being like, hey, we want to put this in? And he's like, yeah, whatever. Sure, why not? I have no doubt Toei has kind of loosened up their has kind of loosed their reins, given that it's the main way a lot of people consume One Piece. You know, Oda's not going to have a stranglehold on the anime production just because at the end of the day it's how a lot of people find his stuff. So he is at their mercies, as it were. I don't know why I said it like that. Oh. Well, that's canon adjacent for sure, because there is an animal friend devil fruit. Oswald's doing pretty well. He's been flopping around. Just make something. Yeah, that's fun. I aspire to be like that. Having people ask me questions, giving a dumb answer, and then doing my best to make it canon. Oda does it in the best way possible. Oda does it like no other. He might as well just start putting Eiichiro Oda and Gordon Ramsay in the same room together, because they both be cooking. I won't apologize for that joke. I refuse to apologize for that joke. Does this even look like an ocean? Eh. Maybe I need to... Because I feel... This is the hard part about drawing oceans. The front tends to be like... You can make out the details and stuff, as we've covered in the past. You can make out the details and what have you. And it's just like, oh, great. Yeah, ocean. I know that from ocean. And then the back tends to be like a sheet, you know. It's like the water really, like the details mellow out and the water just kind of becomes the one color. So it becomes very, if he becomes very monogamous. But in between that can be real hard for me, I'm not gonna lie. That's wild, Kingfisher. Hope that person got blocked, because don't go scamming people, that's not nice. I mean, hopefully everyone's eye is going to be fixed on the ships. More than anything else. Here's what I'll do. I think part of what I'm not happy with is this part right here. Yeah. Wipe that away. And then we can just... like add a bit of detail, but I think I think I was adding too many darks when I'm very clearly not trying to make this the darkest ocean. Yeah, like honestly, I think that's actually best, is having the different dark waves down at the forefront and then kind of in a bit in the background and then just chilling from there. I honestly just don't kind of feel like putting in dolphins, to be honest. That's a whole other challenge to tackle. It's like, okay, I guess time to figure out where the dolphins go. No, you could also just kind of... What? Use this painting I took as reference, and then use that to help with the, with like kind of the pattern I want for the... So like, one here. That's good. See, what I didn't want to repeat from before is that I think modern One Piece has gotten very scribbly. But, I mean, you can definitely see why. You try to draw the ocean, and sometimes it's just like, squiggles, scribbles and squiggles. Oh, wrong one. Probably not, Greg. I'm gonna be real. Cause the ocean wasn't angry with Eve. It was God. Up, up, up. Maybe just more triangles will do. I'm honestly okay spending so much of the stream time on this, because sometimes figuring out how to draw water, especially with black and white line art, is is like the most important part. Honestly, that works. I think what would help is actually like thinning out the horizon line, and this black splodge I put back here. But I'm actually pretty happy with that. Maybe just add some hatching back here. So up, 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 up. Okay. Like I So I'd kind of thin that horizon. Because at the end of the day, you know, there aren't actually like hard lines in nature. It's all like shades and colors clashing against each other, creating outlines. So it's probably a good idea to have the art reflect that somewhat. Obviously, I can't always go for that because it's a black and white comic of rubber hose character. So doing a bunch of tone work is not necessarily it's not gonna fit the style. It's gonna poke its head out a bit, which is not what you always want. You don't want just like one specific part of your piece to be so wildly different from all the rest. It can really be distracting. Which is I mean, that's part of what I'm trying to struggle with here, is just make sure that no part of the ocean is so egregious that everyone focuses on it instead. But honestly, this isn't bad because at the end of the day, we're going to be adding some halftones in here, and that should help distinguish like the ships and stuff from the waves. And that's what you want. It is the ideal for sure. Huh. Oh my goodness. I see Juice in Discord. Can't believe this. I do love, just thinking of, this is unrelated to what I saw in Discord, but I love having friends that, you know, where we poke fun at each other. It's a good time. It'd be a good time when you got pals, you know? Actually, thinner lines. Give me a thinner marker. Because I don't want this to just be like a shadow. The hedgehog. But I do want it to be clear that it's like the, you know, it's a solid shape in the background. That's how solid shapes work. They're filled in the middle. Well. Whoop. Trying to make the sails look somewhat good on this thing. It's a professional sailing ship after all. Can't have all the rigging looking a mess. I say as I'm unsure what the rigging should look like, especially at this distance, but we make it work. Country girls make do. Lord, I was shucking corn for like the first time ever yet the other day. I probably shucked corn before, but I don't remember it. Corn's wild. Corn's kind of like bananas when you think about it, because it's a plant that comes with its own covering for the good stuff. And the fact that those exist is just crazy. I don't know how many, because there are definitely other animals that eat corn besides humans, right? Like they like pests and what have you that like to get to the corn kernels and eat them. That farmer's got to watch out for. Again, I just think crazy. Oh. Here's what we should do. To give it kind of a misty effect. This. Yeah. Not misty for Pokemon. Misty like it's in mist. I'm really trying here. Trying to make it look good. I don't know how successful I'm being, but it's good to experiment. And then how about we add some seagulls in between the two ships. So, yeah. I know there's more advanced ways to draw seagulls at a distance and up close, but honestly, can you really go wrong with the classic V wing shape? I think not. I say as I struggle to draw. It's always fun to watch me struggle to draw. I forgot how to art. Love it. Oof. I'm gonna need to. What was I thinking of? I'm gonna need to really buckle down in order to make this look good at the end of the day. Do my best. I you know, always trying to do my best to make a comic look good, but still. The more I draw a ship, the more I'm just like, I want this to specifically look like a very nice scene, a more realistic portrait in our cartoony landscape. Gonna draw the cloud fading into the ocean again, as it does. Horizon can kind of mix the two together at times. That doesn't look good. Whoop. I love big old new cumulonimbus clouds out sitting on the horizon as I draw the ships. I think they are pretty. I remember I was like, I feel like I was watching a video that was talking about like the history of the Windows XP or 95, you know, the green field of clouds and everything, like the story of that and how the photo was taken. And what was I thinking of? I'm not sure if I was like, yeah, I believe this, or I was like, I'm not sure if this is if this is a trustworthy source, but it was an interesting story at least, which I will not repeat just in the case that it is apocryphal. Heck, that's a historic image right there. If you're gonna act like you're an authority on the subject, you better know what you're saying is true. And I don't, so I won't. Lord Kingfisher was talking about Oda's answering things, and I just remember someone asking Oda, it's just like, Oda, all the clouds in your comics, are they cumulonimbus or are they just your farts? And Oda was like, they are my farts. All clouds you see are my farts. I was like, great work, Oda. Fantastic job as always, buddy. We love to hear from you. I feel like at some point I need to edit the images for the webtoon version, because I just want to make them a little fancier looking. Add a bit more to the to like the palette, the canvas they're sitting on, since it ends up being just there's a decent amount of empty space when I change it from the panoramic to the portrait layout. So I still want to do my best to make sure it looks interesting. Now, see, I'm probably just gonna add one more cloud and then we'll be good. I might add like a speech bubble right here to cover up some of the art I'm not particularly fond of. Little cheat code. And it'll be a good way to introduce the comic. Because it'll be wedged right between. That's how comic flow works, you know? Like you wedge the speech balloon right here in between the two ships. So that way you increase the chances of both being noticed. And then since it's down here, you got your eyes guided up to where the next speech balloon will be. I do like to play with some layout every now and then. Not gonna pretend I'm an expert, but I've heard things. I've tried my best to apply what I've heard from smarter people than I. So I feel like the biggest thing with comic layout is just making sure you have the power to guide the reader's eye. Make sure that as they read, they are naturally following art in action. So that way they're not confused at the direction they should be going. Okay, well that's a little doodle. Just a little doodle. I'll be working on this more throughout the week in order to make sure that the comic is out at a good time. Let's see if we can't find someone to raid for the night then. I appreciate y'all coming by. What was the thing, you know, we're gonna be back next week with just a few streams. We're gonna be doing Minecraft, finishing up Doom, and then probably some more art. So I do hope I'll see y'all there. I appreciate y'all support in the meantime, absolutely. Thank you for coming by. Let's see. How about Starry's streaming Yoshi's Island. How about we do that? It seems like a nice game. That seems like a nice game to watch. I will have good eeps. Thank you. And also they just started, so that's a big thing. Making sure that they're not about to wrap up. Okay. But yep. Thanks y'all for coming by. I hope to see y'all later. Bye.